Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. We're gonna be talking about lumber today, but first, before we get started, I wanna talk about the fact that my hair looks like Bam Bam from Flintstones. Ninja needs a haircut. No, seriously though, we're gonna talk about lumber futures and some possible reasons why it's heading up in the short term, what I see coming for the future of lumber futures, all right? So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I'm getting a lot of comments from people about lumber. Lumber has been creeping up. We're sitting right now at about right underneath $800 for 1,000 board feet of lumber. Again, we're talking lumber futures. So that is causing the prices of lumber to increase around the country right now. Now, that's obviously a far cry from the over, $1,600 where it was sitting, well, in the springtime. And you guys know that in the springtime, when it was running up that price, said, don't worry, it's gonna collapse and it'll probably happen in July, which it did, the price of futures. And then by August, we were seeing the prices of the physical lumber in the stores falling dramatically, right? And I said it was going to be, and I did this in the spring, I said that it was gonna fall because people would care more about the food that they're trying to put on the table and the cost of fuel by the end of summer. And that rang true. Well, I did also say, now don't discount a dead cat bounce because of a pent-up demand in projects. People around the country wanting to build decks, room additions, fences, all of that kind of stuff, but they are waiting for the price to drop. So I said there is probably more than likely going to be a dead cat bounce, and which I believe is happening right now, because people were waiting. They want to get out and they want to do things. So there's a couple different ways that this can go. So let me grab my notes right here. So a couple things. So there is a pent-up demand for the building, like I said, not necessarily building of homes, because a lot of companies like Lennar and Toll Brothers kept building homes because when you have these large swaths of homes, you can't just like go turn off the switch and go, well, we're not going to build this month because lumber got expensive, because we've got shareholders to answer to and we've already got deposits on homes. So the big boys, they didn't stop building. Smaller contractors that were building projects for themselves, they had the ability to stop. A lot of them could say, hey, let's wait until this stopped. But by and large, home builders did not stop building. The pent-up demand is in the retail, excuse me, the people like you and me that are wanting to build projects around the house. There's a couple different reasons why this can go up here even higher in the near future. So first, let's start with the producers and what's going on with them. So right now, mills are running at a certain capacity, and they have the ability to slow their capacity or to enlarge their capacity to, whatever they're able to do. Like everyone has a max, right? They only have so many saws, they only have so many trucks, yada, yada. But what is happening with the producers right now is they're being hit with high fuel prices, amongst other prices that are higher today than they were a year ago. Okay, so that is one reason why the price is going up. Okay, it's very cut and dry, very simple. So to understand the costs that are associated with getting the tree through the milling process to your local home do-it center is costing more. Okay, high fuel prices. There's also an issue with employment still. I'm not saying that they're lacking employees, but the facts are, because of the environment we're in where employees are getting more just to show up, that trickles through from the bottom ranks to the highest paid employees. But it takes some time, and I'll explain why. My wife was a teacher, worked in the school system. She was a paraeducator. So she wasn't a full-blown teacher. She was an aide. She helped with children in, she floated around from classroom to classroom. And at a certain point, she says, holy cow, I've been working at this school for 6 or 7 years. I am now getting paid less than somebody that works at a fast food restaurant because of the employment crisis. Well, what happens is, as that goes longer and longer, people in that career field start to go to their supervisor and go, hey, well, what about us? I could, and my wife was seeing it at her school. Some people were working part-time at the school, and then they said, the heck with this, I'm gonna go work over here. I'm literally making more per hour in whatever job they're doing, and they left the school. And so now the school's having a very hard time hiring people. They can't even put out a job opening because what does it matter? We pay less than the fast food joint down the street. And so why would anybody come and apply? And eventually they're gonna have to raise their prices. So that's happening in the lumber industry as well. Your laborers start going, hey, look, how much am I making in comparison to other jobs around that are having a hard time filling spots? I might as well go over there. So amongst, between employment and the cost of fuel, you start seeing those price rises being passed on to the consumer. Now, the other reason, and I'll end on this one, and this is the scary one if you made it this far. In June, I talked about the dollar whippet theory, and I said that we were going to go from inflation, and I'm just briefly going over it, to deflation, which is going to cause hyperinflation because of the way the Federal Reserve is going to do a knee-jerk reaction. And not just the Federal Reserve, but federal banks, central banks all around the world are going to do this. I do believe there's going to be a time of hyperinflation, which will be transitory. I'm not going to joke around about that. That will be transitory because it will happen in certain aspects of the economy. I believe that lumber has the ability to hyperinflate to a certain extent, but you have to remember when it comes to lumber, it's not a necessity. Growth in building is not a necessity during a market collapse and a hyperinflationary period. You can only build so many homes and charge so much until people go, I don't have that much money. I don't make that much per year. I can't afford the house. And then that stops, okay? So the ability to watch lumber start to rise again, we've already seen the reality of what people will pay in a panic. And if it starts to really rise again out of control, I do believe it could hit the levels that it hit last time. If you had to give me an odds, honestly, it's 50-50 because the markets are so irrational now. We are literally dealing with Alan Greenspan's term, irrational exuberance, like he spoke about 6 months before the dot-com crash happened. So with that being said, I thank you guys for watching. We wanted to explain where I thought the lumber was going. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Hashtag lumber in this one if you could for me. I'd really appreciate it. The Economic Ninja is out.